Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well and keeping safe, staying safe, and are happy, healthy, loved, and cozy. I hope you're all doing great. Okay, so this video is just a short description of my experience um, with the so called Ezekiel's wheels vehicles, which I have had an experience with, and that was a long time ago. I would say 10 years ago. And I was in the beginning of my medical career. I was doing a WHO, United Nations, voluntary work. I was going to say involuntary, voluntary work with the United Nations and WHO in East Africa. We went there to help the population there, to give them health education, fight endemic diseases. We built labor rooms for women. We fought for the women's rights to have female genital mutilation, the practices being stopped. There were many sectors to our operation there, and there were people teaching people how to farm, how to get the best out of modern farming practices basically. And we were also installed a lot of healthy latrines there, and there was also a lot of work that had to do with providing that village that we were working in with a good clean water supply. So we were building water tanks. It was a multidisciplinary team, and I was working there. And in my videos, one of my videos where I am describing how when you are enlightened and you're vibrationally high and you have a love for everyone and everything, and have good judgment, not to be hurtful or not to be deceitful towards people, and not to be harmful to anyone or anything as much as you can, you will be protected by forces that are higher. Because I had an incident where I was protected by, I believe it was a UFO. And if you go to that video, which I think is the in the extraterrestrial messages and revelations playlist, and it's episode 4, you will get more information about that story. It was a very stressful thing that we were doing, because the locals there, not all of them were educated health-wise or in any other way, and some of them were very hostile towards our team, because obviously we went there, we were foreigners, we didn't really know a lot about the culture there, so there was a lot of friction at times with the locals, which improved with time. And by the end of it, they were very they really developed a strong bond with us, and we developed a strong bond with them as well, a bond of strong appreciation and love, and a real humane and powerful bond with them. And we helped them with so many things. It was a struggle. And at times, especially in the night time, we had our quarters where we used to sleep, which was okay, but our security was not able to deal with everything, and we were sometimes called to help in emergency situations, say if there was a woman that was in labor or someone who had a medical emergency, and instead of traveling many miles to go to the hospital, they used to come to us. So at times it was quite stressful, but it was okay. We coped fine. And now this Ezekiel's wheel, the experience I had was very powerful. It was Ezekiel's wheel, and I believe it was the cherubim or Ophanim, and it was in the East African desert, East Africa, and I would say it was just past midnight, 1 a.m. probably in the night. So me and some of my colleagues were trying to move from one part of the village to another part, and it was night time. We were just not working, but we were walking in the desert outside, just outside of the village. We like to go there to see the stars and look at them and look at their shapes. And in the nighttime, if you've been to the desert in the nighttime, you see the stars as if they are on, they're almost like, it's almost like they're on the land, because it's so dark there. There's no light from any cities or cars or anything. So you see this magnificent sky littered with stars and things, and many of them are moving. You don't know what they are, satellites, UFOs, etc. It's just a very humbling and beautiful experience, and quite cathartic and healing as well. So we used to do that a lot. We used to go to the desert in the night time when there was in the middle of the night, just to have a look at the stars. We went in a group. So there was some kind of local legend about a creature that used to light up in the night time and lead people away from the roads that were leading to the village, basically make them get lost in the desert. And we hadn't seen that at all, but we had something interesting happen to us. So we were going in the desert. It was quite dark. We could only see the stars. We were talking about different things, having discussions about different things, because the team itself was international, so we had a lot to chat about. So suddenly, out of nowhere, there was a donkey that was lost in the desert that we didn't really notice. And as we passed that donkey, it started honking in a very loud voice. And obviously when that happened, we scrammed, we ran. So we ran towards the village, and I had a few other people with me. I think in total we were like 6-7 people running, and then one of our friends fell in a ditch, and we had to go back and take that friend out. It was crazy. It was crazy. Now looking back at it, there were very funny moments, but it wasn't, laughable at the time, obviously, and it's got like really like scary moments to it. So anyway, we took our friend out of the ditch. We started walking back. A few of my friends were carrying him. I could see them behind us, like holding him by the shoulders. He'd hurt himself, and then I was walking on my own. There were a couple of people in front of me. There were a couple of people behind me, and they were all talking, and I was in the middle, not talking to anyone. I'm just walking. And then in the corner of the sky in front of me, towards the left, I saw this huge white thing, white light. It was made out of white light, pure white light. It looked purer and more intense than any other star or planet in the sky at the time. It was huge. It was covering almost like 1/4 of the sky to our left. Say if you divided the sky into 4 quadrants, I don't remember what direction we were walking in. I'd be lying if I said any direction. But we were walking forward, and then the left quadrant in front of us of the sky, this thing was standing in it. The interesting thing about it was that it didn't look like a machine. So I was kind of certain that this was not a UFO. It is a UFO by definition, but it wasn't anything alien or extraterrestrial as far as I could tell, because it looked like a person. It had this huge body of a man, and he was standing and facing towards the village that we were walking to. And he had hair that was made out of light, and it was partitioned into 4 portions. It looked like it came directly out of the face and the skull were one thing. There was no demarcations. In the place where the eyes were, there were like spots that were a bit dim. I was so gobsmacked. I didn't say anything. I just kept looking. The eyes looked dim The mouth and the lower jaw, they looked like the shape of a beard, but it was made out of light, and it was straight lines. The beard wasn't like curly or like a human beard would be, have curly hairs or something. All of it was straight, but it was all 4, 4, 4. So 4 parts above the head and 4 underneath the jaw, but it looked from the profile as if it was one person with 4 partitions. That's what I saw. 4 lines going through this head of light. The shoulders were broad. It had a back. I'm sure it had legs, although I didn't see anything apart from this white light coming down to where the legs were supposed to be. Around this white creature, it looked, if you had a picture of Jesus and you looked at the profile, that's exactly how it looked, but it would be all made out of light, and it was in 4 partitions. There were 4 lines going through. It had wings. These wings were coming by the side until it close to the feet. I think at the level of the feet or just below the feet, you could see it. I've tried to sketch it. I'll take a picture of it. What I drew. It's terrible. Please excuse me. I'm not good at drawing, but it's like, I hope it makes sense to some of you. There were lines down the wings as well, but it looked like 1 line or 2 lines down the wings. I didn't count them. At the bottom of the wing, at each edge, the wing was sharp, and it had a translucent dot at the end of the wing. In total, there were 4 translucent dots. Something interesting to note about the face, it looked like the face was smiling, and I felt so calm. When I saw that smile, it was a calmness that I had never experienced before. I felt so calm. The feeling was so warm. The feeling was full of love and just something. It was something so solemn, so peaceful. And it was just smiling. I could see the shape of a smile, but I couldn't see any lips or any mouth or anything, but it looked like a smile. The eyes I could see very clearly because they were the dim spots. Then around this being of light, there were 2 ellipses. The lines on the ellipses were made out of white, pure white light. Okay? They looked like, if you see an elliptical shape, one was going this way, one was going that way. 2 ellipses in 2 wheels inside of each other. And then there was something like a ball of light on each one. And it really did look like, if you look at it, it would look like an eye. It had a lot of similarity to an eye because it had a round place and it was elliptical. So no wonder it was described as an eye before. I understood now when I read the thing, because my spirit was saying to me, read about Ezekiel's wheel because you saw it. And I was like, okay. So this ball of light was round, but it was going on the ellipse itself around this being. Both of them were rotating around the being. Okay, and one of them was going up towards the left shoulder and the other was going up towards the right shoulder, I believe, and they were going in an ellipse. So one of them would be like one of them was coming down, one of them was going up almost, and this was rotating. This whole elliptical thing was rotating itself. They were rotating on it. It was fixed. The elliptical portion, like the lines, I don't recall seeing them rotating, but I recall seeing this white ball of light moving up and down the ellipse, like around this being of light. One interesting thing I saw as well was that the actual elliptical shape drawn by this line, it had gaps, small gaps in it. I think 1 or 2 gaps. It wasn't one uniform, like connected elliptical circle or ellipse. It looked like it had bits of it that were not there, but it was still elliptical. And then I was so shocked as the lights moving on. Obviously, it was something like I'd never seen anything like it before. And then I asked my friends, one of the people that were with me, I said to them, do you see that? I'm seeing something really weird in the sky. Do you see it? And he said, where? And then there's two other guys, from the guys there, they looked and they said, oh my God, wow. So we all saw it. It was not just in my mind. The 3-4 people out of the 6 or 7 people who were there, or even maybe a bit more or less, we were 3 or 4 or 3 people, I would say, for sure, saw it with me. And then we just looked at it in awe. And I did not know about the story of Ezekiel at that time. I did not know about, I wasn't thinking about anything. I had a lot of spiritual experiences, but I would say my spiritual gifts were not really advanced as they are now, and I couldn't do things like remote viewing. I wasn't doing any reading. I was really focused on my medical career, and I wasn't doing any readings for people and so on. Only maybe except family, when they really need to know something, they usually used to come to me, close family. But apart from that, nothing. And we just looked at it, and we were just in a state of like fight or flight because of what happened to our friend who fell in a ditch. It really made us nervous because he had hit his head and I think injured his leg and stuff. So we were hurrying, wanting to go back, and that was it. Okay, that's all I recall. We just left it there in the sky. We didn't have anything to videotape it with, but it was a sight that I could never forget, because I had the impression that it was bigger than planet Earth from where I was standing, and it was covering so much of the sky. But it just came at a time. It was interesting that it came at a time when we were all very scared in that night, and it made me feel safe. Personally, it made me feel safe. That I got the feeling that I was being like, watched over. Something made me think like, or feel, you're safe, don't worry, you're safe, you're okay, you're safe. And it was smiling in such a very peaceful way. It did definitely make me feel better, but I didn't concentrate or focus on it that much because I didn't know any of the stories. And it was only recently that I was telling this to one of my friends, and they said to me, these are Ezekiel's wheels. And then the Spirit said to me, I was like, no, me? How can I see Ezekiel's wheels? Come on now. Who am I to to be able to see it, for them to show it to me, or for God to show it to me? I'm insignificant. I felt, I was like, why? Me, why? So my friend was just laughing with me, and I said to him, this probably wasn't Ezekiel. It was probably just some kind of alien craft or something. But then when I came and I divined about it, I connected to my ancestors and spirits, they said, yes, it is. And they said, you need to do a video about it and describe it to people. And let them see the drawing at least, and then everyone can make their mind up. But it was amazing. So I just thought I'd share this with you guys. And it's incredible. Just thinking about it now, it's blown my mind. But it was amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this was entertaining for you guys. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in your next video. Thank you. Have a lovely evening.